Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa. Happy Sunday, everybody. Good to see you all in the chats here. All of you Americanos that should be sleeping, but I see you're wide awake. And all my wenches with wrenches. So good to see you. And Joanne from Australia. Everybody, yay. And I'm so happy to be introducing you to my very cool friend, Olav Zipser today. What better guest for a Sunday than Olav? But wait, before I bring him on, I'm first going to give you a few of his little credentials because he's quite an amazing human being, I have to say. As you all know, I spent 3.5 years doing the expat life in Thailand, living pretty much between South Africa and Thailand. And it was courtesy of Olav that I did that. Being a skydiver and all, there was a drop zone that opened in Thailand. And then I just decided I'm going to hang out with him. And that was like probably the best 3.5 years of my life so far. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background on him because there's quite a bit to know. So this was actually from a previous interview that he did. The guy just did a little intro on him, which I'm just going to read to you guys. Olav was born in Simmern, Germany, began his skydiving career in 1986 and quickly revolutionized the sport by introducing non-traditional forms of body flight. In other words, departing the known world of flying on your belly to flying on multiple axes, namely on your head. His innovative approach led to the development of FreeFly, a discipline that has transformed skydiving techniques and competitions worldwide. Since his first jump nearly 40 years ago, Olav founded multiple FreeFly schools around the world to recruit other Free Fly Your Mind to Free Fly Your Mind. That's his slogan, Free Fly Your Mind. Olav has trained 14 world champion skydivers and was instrumental in bringing free flight to the FAI, making it an official category in competition. His achievements also include jumping from the Stratosphere in 1995 from 47,000 feet, winning an Emmy Award for his performance in the X Games, creating the Space Games, inventing the space ball, and has successfully survived more than 25,000 skydives. I think it must be much more by now, actually, Olav, in his career. In October 2024, Olav was inducted into the International Skydiving Hall of Fame, where he was presented by a free fly prodigy of his own, Rook Nelson. Well, that is my friend. And as you all know, I've got the coolest guests and viewers. I'm your hostess for the mostest, but I've also boast some of the coolest friends. And on that note, ta-da! Yay, Olav!
Hi to everyone. I don't know who is listening, but thank you very much, Shanti. This is a nice time to chat with you again. And if you like, you can share it to all your friends.
Absolutely. It is so cool. And I'm so happy to finally have you on the show because you have been very elusive. I mean, I say to him, come Olav, come on to my show. Yeah, we go. 3 months later, Olav, yeah, we go. I've got to go, yeah. And then he's off to Spain, and then he's off to Chicago, and I don't even know where else to go. But very cool to have caught you in a little net in the corner of your sky just for 1 hour today that we can talk to you.
Yeah, very cool. Good timing, Shanti. Very good timing. It works all out fine. I'm ready.
You know what was funny? Because you know what was funny earlier on? I came in about an hour early to just make sure everything was set up. And as true as gosh, within half a minute, Olav had also tuned in. And I'm like, why are you so early? No, he's seeing that everything works. So we said, yeah, this is mental telepathy. Exactly like, I mean, you're now writing books about your life, which we're going to talk about later as well. I mean, really, it's so much, they're so much more than books. It's a manual. It's a manual on pretty much how you achieve what you've managed to achieve. Because today we're introducing you to a completely new audience. I'm pretty sure that our audience doesn't know much about the skydive. There might be, but it's not a topic we've covered before. But I want to just say that for you, the way I perceive it, you are not a skydiver. You're an absolute artist. This is not skydiving for you. You have created something that is in your mind, and you are literally bringing it to humanity. And what you've done is you have shown human beings how to fly in the sky for, I think, up to 4 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong with that, but you can correct me there. And without wings, without anything, just using your body and movements that you can shape. And I laughed so earlier, we were showing the clips, and Olav says, yeah, the dragonflies are jealous of me. Even the dragonflies can't do what we do. And you're going to see very well that is so true. Olav, so just before we go and show the audience some of your cool stuff you've done,
So let me say hello. Let me say hello to everyone, whoever's listening in the future. Thank you very much, Shanti, for your cool introduction. And you're right. I think, like, I'm not falling through the sky. We're actually flying through the sky. We're flying through the ocean of gas like fish would swim in the water. The humans are bound to crawl on the land, and we sometimes swim, and maybe we climb into some airplane and we call it flying. But sometimes we also jump from the boat in the water and we swim like the fishies. And sometimes we fly like the FreeFly, and we fly next to the clouds where people only dream about. A great observation, a very special thing, at least in my personal life. I try to inspire as many people as possible around anywhere around the globe in my life, all my time. Thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, it's such a pleasure. But I just want to, before we even talk more, what I want to do is I want to just maybe show 1 or 2 video clips of some of the stuff that we've kind of
Uh-oh. Lost the internet.
There, I'm back. Don't worry, my internet, we're on Africa time. Yeah, right. Today we're on Africa time.
That's
so
okay.
we're just going to show some of your clips, and then what you can do is explain to us what you were doing there, right? Cool. So here's number 1.
While you show the clip, while I'm seeing it, you want me to talk or what?
No, afterwards. So we watch it, and then you can tell us afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. Go for it. Super. Voila.
That's so cool. I got to tell you, if there's one thing I'm jealous about, it's that I don't get to do that in this life. But anyway, I'll live vicariously through you.
As a life artist, this is the best I can come up with. I come up with of how to use my body to be an aerial dolphin and fly super, super fast, or swim in the ocean of gas super fast, faster than the other guys who were the 10-way people on the belly. That was traditional flying. That's about 200 kilometers per hour. But to fly through and around and above and then through again with the precision of sort of like a dolphin in the circus act, that was at that time my pleasure to show to everyone, and my intent to show to everyone that it is even possible, and that's why I called it free flying. It has nothing to do with falling. Nothing can fall through a human flying circle like that.
Right.
And that was the best piece of art I think I ever got to show to many people. I hope my next piece of art will be similar nice. Yeah, let's see.
Listen, and I love what you say, because one thing I've learned from you in the time that I've been hanging out with you is everything in life is an art. And you are so right, because you've created something that was in your mind and you've made it into a physical art for people that truly is an art. But I want to ask you if you can help us understand how, from Gang in 1986, you did not grow up with a skydiving family or anything. Olav's father was a dentist in Germany. He was destined to be a dentist. Olav was studying to be a dentist. So off
Yeah.
he goes when he's 18 years old, and he's the same age as me. I'm like, I think 1 month older than you. And
Oh,
off you go when you're 18 years old. You take your first skydive in Holland. Tell
mm.
us how that first skydive you did the traditional way transformed into what we've just seen you do in the sky.
Well, let me correct you a little bit. First of all,
Okay.
I finished all my education until I got certified and had all my licenses. And I was 20 at that time. And I already learned the newest way of how people got to be students in the art of skydiving. It is called AFF. It's you have two flying jump masters, and they take you, other than the normal military style all the time before was doing. You don't have static line. You're not connected. You don't have round parachute. It was already. I was one of the first test pilot of this new way in Europe, at least. Lucky me. And on top of that, I was quite easy feeling in the air, as it was feeling to me like swimming. Of course, the being on the parachute thing, that was a new thing. But in the air without the parachute, that felt like swimming to me. So nothing really special, which later on became this new idea of how to move in the sky, how to manipulate all the air around the human body like a swimmer would underwater. He mixes and swims with all the water around him. So I learned of how to swim and manipulate all the air around me, and then those incredible speeds were possible. This incredible balance was possible, like a ballerina turning on one toe very, very fast. That was now possible with, and
Wow.
in all different axes, one could do a loopings with twists like a trampoline guy on the Olympics, but for 1 minute straight. Incredible, like a mini astronaut. It was so exciting that I gave up my dental career to become a human pilot, whatever I call it, free flyer, you know? I'm still happy about it. The great art.
He does. That is so cool.
Yes, thank you.
Olaf, sorry, I know we got sorry, got a bit of a lag. I know my internet's playing up. Now, this is a question I know a lot of people ask. Do you get butterflies before you jump? Now, I know the answer to that, but maybe you can explain to our viewers what it's like for you when you're standing in the aeroplane and jump just before you're jumping out.
Well, there's different flights I do. I do competition flights. I do some experimental expedition flights, but most of my flights are the ones when I teach uh, some flyer who's inspired to learn this kind of high-speed superhuman flight, but admits that he can't do it. Well, that makes him a student. That's why he's coming to the school. So basically, my job is to take non-flying human flyers into super high speed every day, about 20,000 times in my life. And that's exciting. I take them into faster than normal terminal velocity human speed, and I make them shape themselves like a dolphin somehow. And over time and with experience, they learn to swim through the ocean of gas, like to learn to free fly. It's difficult to explain in some way. You can all read my books or come and fly with me. Then it's more hand on. It's like learning to walk. You can't explain someone to walk. You have to help them to learn to walk. And put a little love into it. That's at
Exactly.
we are in free flight.
Exactly.
You need to put the personal love into it. That's what I do. I'm the teacher in flight.
Okay, I'm gonna use another clip. Now, I know this is not you in these, but I think these are two of your students, if I'm not mistaken, because not only have you won 14 world champions yourself, how many world champions have you trained?
I'm not sure, but I would imagine more than 15. I could
There you
list
go.
15,
Okay.
which are personally involved with me, which I inspired, and in my team, maybe a little less, in my personal team. But others which I trained, they became the opponent teams, which inspired the early evolution. There were not many teams, so I even created the opposition to even make a competition. It was a whole game.
Of course you did. Of course you did. You had to create the opposition for your own teams, right? your two teams competing against each other. Of course
Well,
you did. Why
when
didn't I think about that?
when you come up with a new thing, you have to create everything. Even the new cameramans had to learn to fly in different ways. That was one of the hard to find people who wanted to do the cameraman and not be the competitors. In front of the camera.
Right.
That was a glory job. However,
Wow. Okay. Well, here's our next clip. This is two of your students. Who are these guys? What are their names? Can you tell us?
while it's playing or after?
Okay. Well, afterwards. There we go. Okay. What was that about?
Wow, this is in Venezuela, in the South Caribbean Sea, one of the islands, and it's called Isola Tortuga. And as we were running, and I was helping to have my branch of FreeFly school in the Venezuelan skydiving facility. There were team partners and ex-students of mine, which were powerful enough to arrange a sport like this in Caracas. So sometimes we flew mini expeditions to the surrounding islands, including this island. And this was a very particular video which you found. Congratulations. Um, it was made in, I was filming, and the two guys you see, those are the, cannot mention names much right now, sorry. Um, were instructed to fly in this way as you see. They were basically a big oval circle, but in slow motion, not shaping much difference, because the idea was to film from very, very far away with a telephoto lens, which is very difficult to fly a telephoto lens and then film something in motion. And that's why you see so much background moving. This is likely to be one of the fastest looking in-flight video a skydiver can produce. It's another beautiful piece of photography or videography which I try to apply to my art. Um, Maybe in some competitions I even got to apply it. Um, yeah, it's a very difficult kind of way of filming, and particular on an expedition flight like this, where you only have one or two chances ever to make a jump. it must all work at the same time. You cannot wobble, you cannot shake the camera. Everything must be working perfectly. Otherwise, you're wasting much expedition setup effort. Yeah, it was exciting and beautiful footage you picked up there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you took the beautiful footage, and I just want to just use this opportunity to also just express to the guests that it's not only in this area that you have this unbelievable way of looking at things artistically. It's exactly in your photography. That skull you're wearing around your neck, you carved that. Olav made me this one as well. This is carved from a hippo tooth, right? And in the back, you must see the pineal gland and the detail on this
It,
pineal gland. And of course,
it's the
my little free
it's the
flyer.
piece next to this one from the same tooth.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We have twins.
There are actually only 5 of those at anywhere. Yeah. Nice. I'm very happy you cherish yours. Cool.
Yes, and it's amazing because not only do you create in the sky, in as you say, in the ocean of gas, right? Because I remember the first time when I was in Thailand, actually, and I actually heard you use that expression when you said to someone, I don't jump out of the aeroplane. Me, I dive into the ocean of gas. And that for me, as you say, it's like a swimmer swimming. It's like everything. It's like you completely discovered a whole new way that humans can exist as well just by free flying your mind and applying your body accordingly, right? So
I hope to
that,
take I hope to take the fear out of people thinking I'm falling, because it could
yes,
flying like a butterfly, or like I used to say, the dragonfly on steroids with a super yoga mindset and a human pilot. That's badass. That's probably the best flying thing there ever was. Um, but
the
just to
badass
free the mind,
dragonfly.
to think like that is bad. It's like the ultimate cool. If I would be reincarnated and I would be a dragonfly, I would want to be me.
I, I think those dragonflies are jealous of you. Can you imagine being a dragonfly flying in the sky and just with your wings, and then you see the humans do this? I mean, I'd be jealous if I was a dragonfly. But I got to tell you guys, when I did this is how I met Olav. I met him in Namibia, right? When I went for my first skydive, organized actually by Mornay. So Mornay arranged that, and I am terrified of heights. Okay. So
Ah.
this is 2017. I go there to the drop zone in Namibia and I am shivering. And anyway, so I get, you get kitted up and what have you. And there's Olav, this dude sitting at the counter. I get introduced to him. I go, hi. Next thing, this guy comes riding out the clubhouse on this wheelie, this single wheel, which I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then I got told, of course, everyone knew in the skydive world who Olav was. And he was kind of like just hanging out in Namibia for a year, being in Africa for a while, and just sharing his amazing energy with the drop zone there. And as my luck would have it, guess who came up with me and flew in the sky with me and filmed me? That was him. That's actually how I really met Olav. It was so cool. I was so scared. And I told you the story. When you're in that place and you jump out of the aeroplane, your mind has no option but to break wide open. And in that moment, my third eye was so wide open. I looked up and I saw this guy in front of me, and I kid you not, in his spirit form, he has the biggest wings ever. Ever. Butterfly.
But
I said they were
like
butterfly.
swimming in front of someone. When you have someone in front of you, it's like, oh, you're so used to it. You see people in front of you, and as soon as you have some person in front of you, everything is cool again. You see some
Exactly.
guy so far away. Of course, that's scary. You're all so alone. Everything is so far away that even a house is this small. But if you
That was
fly with
amazing.
someone, beautiful. Yeah. I
It was
remember
so
that
cool.
was in
Yeah.
Namibia before the fog came in.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That was so cool. And I looked up and I saw his butterfly wings and I said, I'm safe. And I was safe. I knew immediately. And I went for another skydive and I insisted only he comes and only he films me. But then we became fast friends. I mean, we connected very quickly. We were
Right.
hanging out and we were chatting. I've never in my life come across a German like Olav. He was hilarious. I'm telling you, he used to sit and say these things. Olav is a quiet guy. You're not often going to find him being shouting and screaming. Not at all. He's the quiet guy. And like, you kind of like, you watch him and you go, there's something very special about that man. And then when you start speaking, man, does he blow your mind. Anyway, here's our next clip, Olav.
Ah, another good clip you picked out there. That's a very long time ago as well. Hallelujah. Well, that was made in Spain, Empuria Brava. One of the better, maybe best, one of the best drop zones, skydiving places, training centers in all of Europe, probably, has this beautiful bay with the sun reflecting in the water. One can do fantastic cinematic photography and videography there with the reflection and the prettiness of the scenery, right? And as it's a world renowned skydive center with friends of mine who ended up being the early adapters of this free fly sport in Europe and ended up having their training center there. That's it was their 10-year anniversary for the free fly school in Europe. And so we had a festival and we ended up having lots of good trained flyers from all around the world. We came together there to help celebrate and celebrating. Yeah, it was great. It was a good time. And reflection were obviously nice. At one point, you can probably see I'm filming. I had like a special super wide angle lens, and my idea was to film my own eye. And idea of filming the own eye with the action was to have a sort of like a scientific reference of see the action of one can see the action the eye is seeing at the time, and one can see the eye while seeing the action. So and the idea was simple. It's like how many times am I blinking doing all that human flight of action? And it was surprisingly very few times. I can have the ability to have one open eye and suck in 1 minute of crazy action up to 300 kilometers per hour without even blinking. And I believe
Wow.
that gives the brain a better, a better movie to react to rather than a cut movie. You don't close your
Exactly.
eyes a lot when you're a race car driver or you go crazy on the freeway. You must keep your eyes open, and flying is even 2, 3, 4 more times faster and more intense. So the better. My advice to my students is learn not to blink. Suck in that fucking shit. Look your fear in the eye and then avoid it. You plan the future. That's what flying is all about. You don't even react on what's going on now. You're too late. You're crashing. If you only react on what's known, what you see right now, you're already too late in flight. You're like 300 or more kilometers per hour fast. You must anticipate the future. You must have in the past understood what's coming next. So what's next is in your power to choose. Yeah, it's an
Absolutely.
interesting thing and tough to explain. But with more motion and faster four-dimensional displacement, or three or four-dimensional displacement, there's a lot of preparation and anticipation involved instead of reaction.
Wow. Makes so much sense what you're saying. And, again, it highlights to me that what you're doing is not just about flying in the sky, it's life in general. And no matter which area in life you are living, right? You could be, as you say, a race car driver, a skydiver. You could be a creative person in an ad agency, whatever. But when you apply certain understanding.
Yes. Maybe not the ad agency agent, but sorry to interrupt. Thank you. Thanks for the offer.
When I said that, when I said that, I knew that you were going to get me on that one. I know you well, but that's amazing. So it's really understanding that whatever life you choose to live, when you do it with the right perspective and the right energy and the right attitude, you can pretty much achieve and that's what you do. And I know that's what you teach, and that's what your books are all about. Wow. Anyway, okay. Yes.
That's right. The books you mentioned them. It's about the choices you have in life and how awake you can be to even realize that you even have choices in the first place. I like to describe it as the coin, like, to me, simply said, every human being is like a coin. It's lying flat somewhere and it's looking somewhere. So it's got the heads or the tails. That's how you got born, blah, 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 whatever. But through some life idea, the coin can maybe tumble around and now you see the other side and life has changed. That happens to many of us as well. But if you ask people, then how many sides does a coin have? Most people would say, well, it's this side or this side, the other side. That's why we make it and flip it to decide of which side it is. But to me, it's three sides, and it's always three sides because every coin has a rim. If you in your life philosophy can balance your own self, being the coin in this case, on the rim, that's a difficult job. It's not as lazy as lying on one side. You have to carefully make sure that you don't fall over, but then you can see to both sides in the same time and even the rim. You have such a holographic idea about what's surrounding you, so you actually can make super duper educated choices because you have the information for all to make the choices. And if you feel out of balance, you can roll somewhere so the coin doesn't fall over. If you can spin the coin, then you stay in space, but you also don't fall over. So there's plenty tricks of being the coin in life, which learns to stand up like a real human and not fall over no more, and look everywhere at the same time. And that's my FreeFly Your Mind philosophy and my coin analysis. It's well described in the book, I hope.
And it's like riding the rim, as I always say. That's when I was riding the wheelie, right? Finally got it that I could ride that wheelie. Finally, I must have been your longest taught student when it came to the wheelie.
No, let me assure you. I will again mention no names, but there were times I had to even put more love out there.
More love than what you had to give to me in order to encourage people to ride it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all okay. It's worth it, aren't we having fun? And don't we have a horse in the pocket now? No hate. You don't even need a gas station. All you need is an electricity socket, which anywhere you ever go, you find one. That little wheelie is a horse in the pocket. It's the coolest thing. I love him. I love mine.
Exactly. We call it the horse in the pocket, and I'm going to show you guys later. Anyway, but here's your next clip now. So tell us afterwards about this.
With this space ball. I'm really excited because I just passed my atmospheric dolphin test. This is a test with a space ball that falls out of the sky at approximately 165 miles an hour. there's an evaluator that goes out of the plane and tests you on certain skills, on flying skills that you need to perform to pass this test. This test is original because you're not allowed to fly with a space ball until you take this test and until you pass this test. The test requires you to take.
Oops, you caught me on that one. Aha. All right. Yeah, that is another good shot you found there. Yeah, what I'm trying to show there, and it's also an art piece of mine, I believe. Here, I tried to think about how can I demonstrate to people on the ground, which maybe never experienced the rush of a human falling towards a planet. That's a pretty stupid idea in the first place. So there's probably 8 billion people out there which never will do that. So how can I show them of what this is? So I need a measuring stick, I thought. I need something which people can look at. In this case, it was this tennis ball, which I prepared in a particular way, that it flies or falls perfect, like anything which would fall. It will fall straight perfect towards Earth's surface and towards the center of this Earth ball, no matter where you release it, in Japan and in America or in Africa. It doesn't matter. There's always a center of the Earth, and that ball would go towards it at the same speed, in the same perfect direction, and it would give us free flyers, me, the first time, a measuring stick in space, in this vastness of ocean of gas. It would travel perfectly with one speed, perfectly straight down, and I calibrated it in a way that it was good for me to fly with. So I basically set the human speed range with my body, and I made it in such a way that I could fly with it. I could shape and reshape my body. I could demonstrate all different control about all different axes in all different attitudes. I could fly around it, run around it, and that was a perfect way to demonstrate to anyone, if you can fly next to a tennis ball on match, on opening, that is incredible fast. What you see in this video is twice as fast or even 3 times faster, and we still fly next to the tennis ball. It's as fast as a bullet from a handgun. That's how fast that thing is. And we demonstrate to manipulate the ocean of gas in such a way that we can be a human flyer, a free flyer. That's the art I invented. And this was the most probably best demonstration way I ever found and published. Yeah, people followed it from all over the world. 33 nations passed tests, which I demonstrated with this. In the end, we had space games where we raced around this ball. Whoever had a license to fly with it was allowed to come and win prize money during the space games. It was a fantastic way for about 10 years to publicize this new way of human flight globally.
It's so crazy because we have people here in the chat who are so used to this being the devil's work that they are asking if you are creating illusion magic. No, Noah, there's no illusion magic here. This is plain, brilliant human mind and consciousness. It is a brilliant artist who is able to do these incredible things, and you can't see it. Now you call it illusion magic. No, dude, come on. Out of here.
But
Olav?
I have to give it to this whoever person that was. Illusion artist, I like it. That's why I call it free fly your mind. I call it lucid dreaming. Anything I see, if I'm a little kid, I can sit somewhere in the sand case and I play with my princesses and my kings and my castle, and I have my horses, and there's nothing there. Just imagine everything. If I'm a kid. So why can I not be, or why cannot a human being continue with being an illusion artist of such kind? The little kid believes it,
I love the way you
with
put
free
that.
flying, with free flying, one has to be an illusion artist, and I agree with this person, to create it in their head before. It's free fly your mind. But the beautiful thing is you can actually do it. You don't have to dream about it only. You can dream about it, and it's beautiful to just dream about it. But you can take your body and jump out of that aircraft. You can drive a boat on the water and jump into the water and swim by yourself. Everyone can do it. Some people maybe prefer to stay in the boat and not get wet. And the same in the sky. We can jump out of the airplane and actually get wet and fly in the ocean of gas. It's something not for everyone maybe, but it's a fantastic, beautiful thing to do. We don't have fishes and other things up there, and we don't have birds. They fly much lower and much slower. But we have rainbows in the vertical thunder clouds, and we have shadows we can fly with. We have vertical, imaginary, and physical clouds which we can race down like a race car flyer. Or we are the human biomechanical flexman. There are so unbelievable, amazing that even biomechanical flexing with an integrated human mind, no joystick needed. Even
Exactly.
that cover, not even that covers how cool it actually is. Yeah.
It's so true, and and I think what is so amazing with you is because it takes a very special type of mind, a human mind, to be able to achieve the things that you talk about. And I think for the average person, it is absolutely, it's a mind fuck, to say the least, to realize that somebody can do these things and you don't have to have any dodgy way. There's nothing dodgy about it. And you are such a fantastic example of what is possible for the human being, because most of us live with our heads up our bums. We really think the only thing that that works in life is our office job and how much money we have to make at the end of the month. And we live in fear most of the time, which really keeps us grounded. And I think from where you're coming, it is such an incredible perspective to realize that anything is possible when you open your mind, you free fly your mind, and you allow yourself, because you've shown to us now, it's not only you can do that, you've trained quite a few people. I mean, I've seen some guys who do this stuff, they're good. They're damn good. I mean, no one is you, of course, but they're damn good.
There's people who are by far better than me now, but they have by far more training as well. They're not 60, I have had the pleasure to almost do it and train it for 40 years. Other people now have also trained for 20 years. They're younger. And it doesn't matter. It's not a race. It's like when you can walk and kick a football, you have mastered human walking and kicking a football or something, It's not even an art towards it. It's like even once you manage simple dancing, you don't need to be a champion. You are one of the best humanoids ever, because you can dance and have balance and can feel the rhythm, and you can imagine and have fun with friends. And if you can do that in the sky, I think for myself is my personal passion, and it's the ultimate cool. Because a human, I desire, I can swim like a fish. I can hold my breath. I can run around like a little kid. I can climb a tree and bounce on a trampoline. I can climb a little rock or a mountain. And I can also fly some little badass kind of way. That's the ultimate machine of living machine this planet has ever created. Not only this ultimate machine, which can do everything with precision, has like me inside. How cool. This is my machine. I'm inside. Wow, I'm a winner. That's how I feel. And everyone has a machine like this and doesn't need to oil it and precisely create such categories of where to feel awesome with. I like the multi-terrain kind of idea. I want to be home and everywhere, and use my machine. Too bad I can't take it in my dreams, but actually my dreams is good that I don't need to take it, because there I don't need my machine. I just need to have my machine to create the dreams. And then I can go dimensionally and explore right there, whatever's behind the rainbow shadow door. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
You read the books. You read what's happening when you go maximum mammalian speed towards Earth's surface and you encounter a rainbow shadow door and you choose to fly through it. Yes.
Amazing. It's incredible. I love it. No, I love it. Okay. Here's your next crazy. Let me just see. I think, let me just first see if it's this one.
Uh-oh.
Yes, that's
No,
the
no.
one.
Wow, you just showed the whole movie. I have seen the car jump, I've seen the base jump, I've seen the jump with the space ball, I've seen the jumps with the different style and acrobatic maneuvers. Maybe we start right there. At
We'll
one
just
point,
have
you saw
fast
me in
Janine first.
some
I have to
really
just tell you, I want to
right.
just stop you quickly. There's Janine in the chat who's going to puff pass with you. I love it. Olav, that is the craziest freaking thing I've seen in my life. That car story. You guys are lunatics. Lunatics.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But we did two jumps, you know. After the first one, I should have known I'm a lunatic, so I had to confirm it. You know, now I know I did 2 times in a row lunatic, and I know this is stupid. Have to confirm yourself, you know? Of course.
Oh my gosh, Olav, that is hilarious. So please
Hey,
tell me about
that
the.
that was the faster Honda Civic I ever seen. It was the only car which we could buy on the junkyard, which was actually fitting in the dimensions of the airplane which we had available. So we kind of chopped the roof off, prepared it without engine oils and kind of most environmental friendly as we could fix it. And we actually pushed it out of the airplane and flew around it. And we started sitting in it in the first place while rolling and driving it out of the plane. So this one accident there happened at approximately 10,000 feet in mid-flight, and it was the faster Honda Civic ever. It should have gotten a speed ticket. Anyhow, so I kind of rolled off in a lucky way. I was unfortunate, but also sporty, like kind of rolling off a climbing wall. One would fall in a proper way and not break his arm right away. So it kind of felt like that. I had this big car coming at me really fast, and I kind of rolled off on it, around it, pushed off, and kept on filming. Um, yeah, it wasn't. It was a very dangerous situation. It could have gone very bad. Luckily, it didn't, and it looked badass. It's one of the most looked at video things which are from the dramatic side of my career. Yeah.
Well, that was definitely badass for sure. And I would imagine definitely super dangerous. But speaking about super dangerous, tell us about you jumping 47,000 feet from the stratosphere somewhere in Russia without a spacesuit. Without a spacesuit. How did you
Well,
do that? The military
well,
guys go 30,000 feet and they all gas masked up.
yeah, that was it was so special, and we did not have any spacesuits because where to get a spacesuit from? who gives you a spacesuit, you know? So there was no one who was giving us anything, pretty much. So we had to make our own spacesuits. We ended up with a counter mechanical pressure suit, we called it, and nothing really badass new. Russians and Americans have done it before, but we did it different in some other way, and it kind of worked. Um, I I was at that time in 1995 the FreeFly kind of way of fly really fast as this idea which I'm showing here, you know, the human flight, fast flying. It was new. And only some people knew about it, including Patrick. He is a French stuntman working for No Limit magazine and Sector Sports Watches. Is sort of like he was before Red Bull came along. A company was called Sector Sports Watches that did whatever Red Bull does these days with their athletes. So he was one of those badasses from France doing special things, already knowing, being known. His idea was to hold his breath and fly from high up on Earth's above Earth's surface, and then come back to as a skydiver, and then land like a normal skydiver. Sort of like people dive underwater, hold their breath, and then they come back up. He wanted to do the opposite from high up. And as I was the fastest person on the planet, I guess, who could fly like this, and I had my schooling idea, people knew me, I could teach him to be also one of the fastest people in the world, you know? And I could also film him and support him on this mission. And that's why we had like this 2-year project where over time I trained him how to fly like this human missile style, and also of how he can hold his breath, because where we jumped out was like in the stratosphere, super cold, and no aerial pressure outside, so almost like high fever moment, much more worth than on top of Mount Everest. And so the idea was for him to hold the breath and fly as fast as possible below Mount Everest height, hopefully down to like 7,000 meters only, like more than half of the whole height, as quick as possible, and then take a first breath so he doesn't black out and maybe suffocate with this up to minus 70 Celsius cold air, which he would have taken a breath in if he would have passed out or something, you know. Anyhow, it was a big adventure.
How long did he hold his breath?
More than a minute. I don't really. No one really. We had no measurement thing which measured how long he was holding this breath, but it was probably more than a minute and a half. And we passed Mount Everest at probably 750 kilometers per hour. In other words, that's like 200 meters in 1 second. That's faster than a handgun bullet. You know, if you shoot a 9mm handgun, we were faster than the bullet at the fastest speed above Mount Everest. And that's why we had this project together, you know. It was fantastic. Yeah. There were many things. I also wrote a book about it. It's called In the Death Zone, Above All Clouds. And it explains from different perspectives of what people were thinking about this adventure and this expedition, which we did with our homemade spacesuits. You know, like basically we were deep sea divers, and we were diving the deepest ever. And we kind of the fastest at the time, but we didn't do it with a special scuba suit, you know. We just like, yeah, let's go and do it, you know.
So how did it feel when you landed?
Yeah, very good, because it was very dangerous to do. It was more dangerous when we were up there than we thought, because our blood was becoming warmer and warmer. We started having high fever because of the pressure differential. It was super cold in the same time. Outside super cold, minus 70 Celsius or more. Then we had this super crazy high windshield factor of this stratospheric winds, and the biggest airplanes was airplane with 4 big jets for 2 people to carry up there. The idea was kind of ride the dolphin. You know, a dolphin swims in the water, everyone knows. But a dolphin can also jump out of the water and go, woo, and then go back in the water. And we used an aircraft which is sort of like a dolphin. It flew higher than the water goes. Airplane can also fly only as high, like a dolphin can swim in the water. Imagine something like that. But if you go fly the aircraft really, really fast with very few people inside, you can jump out like a dolphin, and then up there, and up there,
And then you come.
then you jump out, and that's what we did. We jumped out from higher than the aircraft can ever fly. That's why people use balloons and rockets for that kind of height. We were really exploring something, and some area which other people still not have flown in, unless they had space or rockets, Yeah. Anyhow,
Wow.
we went 750 kilometers fast. That's super cool. And we survived, I had a little cold burn on my neck, nothing very special. And it was in Russia, 1995. It was when you could rent aircrafts like this while giving someone lots of money, an old ex-general, Then he gets his buddy together, gets the snow of the biggest aircraft on the military airport, which no one was at because it was 1995. There was no Russia yet, and Soviet Union was gone, bye-bye. So no one flew those airplanes. But the general knew where there was one, so we rented that one. And then we flew it higher than it was ever, probably. Yeah, we'll never go that high again, that's for sure. However,
well, is it safe to say you won't do that again? Is that something you won't do again?
I would love to do even more than that. But of course, the next time I would use everything I learned and therefore prepare better. And I have some great ideas with my Fly Astronaut project or the other business, the Space Emergency Rescue Solution. We have found international, almost global attraction with this project. But in the end, not enough traction to come up with the full finances. Still hanging. Still a super idea to save people once they are maybe having some problems in the space stations, like those 2 astronauts just recently. They were up there for like 6-7 months for no reason. If they would have had my kind of suit, which I was promoting with the Space Emergency Rescue Solution, they could have come back as individual spacecrafts, and it would have even been part in an additional resource for human study of rescue in space. Would be perfect. They would have used my suit, but they didn't.
We're gonna have to speak to Elon. We're gonna have to speak to Elon, Olav and Elon. We'll have to get Elon involved here. And but before we get Elon involved, he has yet another clip. Nice one.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you found some very interesting old clips. That's cool. The last was like me filming on the first time we had 108 people, the fastest human flyers, free flyers, making some kind of flower formation from different aircrafts by flying fast towards the ground, you know? They all have been trained on this space ball, which I showed earlier, that kind of speed, that direction, the flying techniques which are needed to manipulate your body so you can actually swim in the ocean of gas like that. And we demonstrated 108 people to do it at the same time. This summer, we have the opportunity to try 200 people with the same flying style, but from more aircrafts and obviously almost twice as many. Yeah, very cool. I'm
And
super excited. Yeah, this is going to be super.
where are you going? Where are you going? To America?
Yes, it will happen in Chicago. My good friend and ex-teammate, and yep, he owns this place in Chicago. That's where I was for the Hall of Fame event as well this last summer. Maybe you remember. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and that's a big private playground with private runway system and hangar systems, not just one little hangar. Many aircrafts. Maybe up to 200 trailer people stay there. All human flyers assemble with a lake and everything. Like we expect like up to 1,000 people to camp out
Wow.
over the summer and then finally make this 200 people world record flower super fast over there, you know. And that's yeah, that's going to be a super exciting summer. I'm looking forward to it.
So I find it very interesting that you had 108 people making that flower formation because, you know, I mean, you that does all your yoga in the sky. I mean, I don't know why you never did yoga on the ground with me ever. I tried to convince you a few times, but you
Well,
decided, no, you do.
you never did any yoga in the sky with me. I like that, you know.
Well, that was very scary. I would have needed lots of training for yoga in the sky. You had to start with me on the ground, and you never did.
Play hard to get, baby.
Oh my gosh! Now we have someone who is such. John Calm is saying it's fake. Olav, don't you love it when people call you a fake? Don't you love it? Don't you
Yeah,
love it when they?
I like a lot. I have a great example. For example, one time I made this super nice, one of my famous photos. It's like someone actually standing on the tail of a flying aircraft in mid-flight. You can see the desert far below. It's long before there was computer and Photoshop stuff, you know, like real photos, like click, research, click, you know. And I made the super duper photo of my friend and teammate and instructor, whatever. We made it together, right? Including the pilot. And then he climbed back and stood crazy on the back of the airplane wing, you know, the little horizontal thing. And that became one of my most famous photos. And I sold it to some travel agency. And as soon as they made it popular, then the German Stern book, you know, the German magazine, the Stern, maybe very famous. They bought one, and then the travel agency got like messages, and people said like it's all a fake and this is not true. And then in the end, they bought the video as well from of how I made the photo because I was filming and making photos at the same time. And for this video, I just got, I think, from this travel agency, I traded that one in for 10 tickets anywhere I wanted to fly during those exciting times. I needed to fly different places, Chicago, Tokyo, maybe, or back to Europe or whatever places, you know. That was the great photo, that one. You know, people don't believe of what they see, and that is why we help them with such
Yeah,
videos and documentation to get up to date of what they could possibly do themselves, you know? Yeah.
I love the way so people can get up to date. I mean, guys, don't you just love him? I mean, Olav does not have violence in his vocabulary. I'm the bitch out of this friendship, okay? Olav, he says, you see, now we just help people get up to date so they can see what's capable. And, right, you know, you get people like, yoga is full of demonic energy. I mean, they sit here behind fake names and they can't even put a profile pic up, fake names, fake everything. And they sit there telling people they're fake. But the poor thing has probably never left his town in his entire life. So therefore, you're sitting here watching someone like you rocking not just your world, but everyone else's world. And they can't actually believe that this is
That's
God, our creator.
That's what makes nice art nice art. Nice art is not the light bulb. The light bulb used to be nice art, but it's everyone has one. It's not nice. It's nothing new. Uh, Nice art should get people inspired, and they should maybe don't believe it's true. They don't understand of how one can do it. It should just puzzle them. That's what also nice art is, you know. And if it's like in case of FreeFly, I think it's visually super nice and appealing as well. It's like a 3D, 4D painting, which only exists at the moment you paint it, and then after it's gone. You have to look at the
Exactly.
moment painted, then you can see it. Or you have to have the long-term vision of 1 minute, and then you can see the whole curve of how you flew next to this cloud, chasing your round rainbow and your shadow, like Peter Pan would, only in the book. But there you are, and actually do it. And people understood decades ago that if you come to my school, I can teach you how to do this, because I actually do this. It is possible. It is limited
It is
possible, but possible, you know. And you can do it
absolutely.
all over the world. People do it all over the world, if you believe it or not, all the people, you know.
Absolutely.
Not a computer animation. It can be done and can be trained, just like swimming in the water. That is also not that difficult, you know.
Exactly. Well, you certainly make it look easy. So, on that note, we're going to give you another clip.
One more good clip you picked. Nice. Yeah,
Always.
those are 10 people which fall in the classic belly to earth style, making a fantastic 10-way people round star. They're holding hands and create this hole in between them. And they're falling on their belly. That's what the traditional skydiving is all about. And that's how I learned, and everyone learns in the world, of how to skydive. But the free fly, you can see, is the vertical as well. And when you go vertical, you can go faster or the same speed than the ones on the belly. But it's new. It's more difficult to stand on one toe like a ballerina than to crawl around like a little toddler. And therefore, different flying speeds and change in the body position sometimes smaller, sometimes very big, sometimes one arm more out than the other. We have four wings, just like this super duper dragonfly on steroids, doing yoga in the sky at high speeds. You can, when you watch this video again, at different times, you see my arms and legs getting bigger and smaller in some coordinated way.
Yes.
And why I'm flying up and down and around through this hall of those other people demonstrating uh, the power of how to swim in the ocean of gas. It's like a dolphin swimming around a life ring which you throw in the water. You know, the dolphin goes in and out the life ring. He looks like he has fun, right? That's kind of what I wanted to demonstrate, you know? Imagine that wherever you see the smoke, people have smoke on, like military kind of smoke cannons on their feet. That's what you see in those smoke going up. It's not the smoke going up, it's the people going down. That's also why in some of the pictures you see the earth getting bigger and bigger. The airport gets bigger and bigger and bigger because there's people coming from space towards falling towards the ground, and the ground and the picture gets bigger, filmed by the cameraman. And that's wherever the smoke is in the sky, you know exactly that's where the people were a second before. That's why I say you
Wow.
can never be on the second right now because you're already too late. In 1 second, you're already there where the smoke just came from, and you can't react. It's much quicker and much more delicate than driving a car. In a car, if you know of what you're doing right now, you're pretty good. You can react. But in the sky, that's not enough. In the sky, you must know of what will happen next. And if you don't know what will happen next, you're already on the way to make an accident. You must predict.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's
Very
true. Which brings me actually on a couple of years ago, you went skydiving in Egypt. You guys skydived over the pyramids, and that was quite recently. This was after I met you, and I know one of the things you spoke about was because you truly have an art at knowing exactly. I mean, from what I'm understanding, these guys can't just jump out of the airplane whenever they feel like it. It's got to be done at a certain time at the exact precision for them to be in the exact same place at whatever time, right? Especially when you're doing formations. So I know what you were saying to me when you were in Egypt. You were in a much, much bigger military plane, right? Tell us the story actually about Egypt when you were skydiving in Egypt a few years ago.
The military plane was actually more small. It was one of the biggest American ones, but more small than the ones in Russia on the space jump. That one had big jets, like an airliner, four of them. The military planes you use in America for big cargo, like tanks and other stuff, you could put 100 people in there and whatever has a tailgate, just like it, is smaller than the Russian one, and it has propellers. But it's a badass plane. And say again your question. What should I answer first?
Yeah, just tell us about the time that you were in Egypt. Recently, you were in Egypt and you guys were skydiving over the pyramids.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah,
I think that was the biggest plane you jumped out of, right? I think.
Well, in Egypt, yes. But in Russian plane was bigger. However, there's many big planes. We can talk about it another time. The difficult thing in Egypt was to have the permit to jump over the pyramids. Can you imagine that would not be easy to jump over any big city or over any kind of prehistoric kind of whatever special arrangements like the pyramids. They take them very serious in Egypt. So it actually took like more than a decade to inspire some Arabian and Egyptian students of mine. And I interviewed many of them, and I always asked them, it's like, oh, by the way, maybe your papa is a general of the Air Force or something, you know, who we can persuade to give us permission to jump first time over the pyramids. No, it never happened. But maybe 15 or almost 20 years later, actually, there was one of the students which did have a father which was a general, and through that help and political change, of course, over 2 decades, the regime has changed, the things were changed, it was more possible. But in the end, it was allowed. We had all the permits from the historical department, from the archaeological department, from the Air Force, from the air traffic, I don't know how many. And it was not me who did all those permits. There was the Egyptians which organized all that. We ended up being one of the first civilians to actually do this dream flight. And I was the jump master. As I have much experience in such big aircrafts, even different ones, I know of how to sit next to the door and basically tell the pilot far in the front of if they should go a little left or a little right, so everyone who jumps out actually lands there where they're supposed to land with the current wind conditions. I have learned some of these techniques and in the past, and sometimes I get a job like, hey, can you guide our plane so people land at the pyramids and not somewhere else? And that was a lucky moment like that. I got that job.
Do you recognize this?
There's a little pyramid I can see. I have only the telephone now, but I think it's this plastic pyramid, kind of mock-up thing. Yep, from Egypt. Cute.
Yeah. You bought it for
Yeah,
me there. You
we
see.
jumped right over the top of that, you know? And in one of my books, I always imagine above the pyramid, there's an invisible beam, which actually you can only see when you dream or when you're super crazy fast. Maximum mammalian speed, I call it. You must go faster than the simulation Earth allows, because we go faster than we were supposed to travel, you know? Free flyers go faster than they can fall. So therefore, we break the simulation rules and we can see in that dimension.
Wow.
Content.
I mean, this is insane. Okay, we have another video.
So, Uh, yeah,
Well,
another
I
example
can't.
of
I've got to tell you, I have never in my life had. Hang on, I have never had more trolls in my chat than what I have today. When I say trolls, you got the evil is real. They imagine that what you are doing is satanic. I mean, can you believe how fucked up people's heads are? I'm sorry. This is Adam. You are an idiot. Seriously. You need to unprogram your mind and free fly your mind. Listen to watch this guy here. Wow, can't believe how many people think this guy is real. Ask anyone who's in the system, and then we'll say it's definitely not like this. Olav, I would love your response on that. Adam, stay. Please stay. Don't go yet, Adam. Let Olav answer you.
Well, thanks for your intense response. Satanic, maybe a little exaggerated. Absolute unique for all of 8 billion people, or say 100 billion people who have ever lived after Lucy. You know, kind of your neighbor. Okay. So there's 100 billion people say have lived ever on planet Earth, and we are just a small percentage of those people. And this free flight has been created by me personally 30 years ago. So it's very no surprise to me that most people on this planet don't believe it or know about it, you know? Some Arab boy in the desert doesn't know what swimming with dolphin means either, because he lives with a camel in the desert, you know? He can't imagine means to swim in the ocean of gas and follow your own rainbows and your shadow, and that is all true. And whoever doesn't believe it, I hope they get inspired to at least put a little effort into it and self-educate themselves. Yeah, and that would be
Olav,
easy to do, you know. And they're all welcome. You know, they can look up
this
this
is
all.
why I love you, Olav. This is why I love you. Okay, now let's inspire some more people with your satanic activities. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, this is very badass. Yeah, this is hardcore. That's true.
Do we have sound? I don't think we have sound here.
I don't know what I should say. Yeah, this I think is one of the flights we did after. That's the second, maybe the second car we put out. Yeah.
Look at
Yeah, well,
that.
yeah. Wait for it, wait for it. Here we come. Here, that is quite crazy. You know, soon it's gonna hit me. Oh, that's not the clip. There it is. Puff. That was my fastest car crash I ever had, and I had a couple blue things on my hip, on my elbow, and stuff. Wow, that's a crazy mix. I've never seen this mix before. The guy who actually you see is not even that's not even me. Anyhow, someone else mixed this one together. However, this is the car after it landed. Look how flat it is. You know, it doesn't need the junkyard guy anymore who makes it flat. We took care of that.
Well, thank you for helping the junkyard that you didn't have to flatten another car. Oh my gosh. Okay, and now guys,
Just for everyone to know, this was made in particular in advanced thinking with lots of precision. It was made in the desert of Arizona with the police being there. They knew about it. The mayor sanctioned it and said, like, yes, in the desert there and there with the police, this and this and this and this area, you can actually do it. We've proven with both cars that we can hit that area perfectly, like we trained with the Spaceballs, and it was no extra special skill to land a car without a driver in the middle of the desert on the dot. Basically, we did it, and some of us followed
that
it.
is badass. That is seriously badass. Okay, but now I have the last video, and this I know is the most badass student you've ever had.
Okay, give it to me. Recording. southern part of Thailand.
This is so cool.
The
Wow.
Cambodian border.
Wow.
We're going to discover all the islands. Now we go there where no man has ever wheeled before.
Exactly.
I think you surprised me, and I concur. That is a bad student. Her name is Chantelle. She is also in her head living up in the clouds, like hopefully many of us who are listening. How about that wheelie? The pocket and the horse. You did so well. We drove over those little piers of those little wooden things in the mangroves. If I think back, I think you were such a trooper, Shanti. That is
Listen,
dangerous what we did, and you did well. And you never whined. You are a cool chick. You can steal horses with. You can go riding and adventures with you anytime again. Okay.
we will have more adventures. I'm definitely coming to Thailand. It's so true, guys. Yeah, that was when I just learned to ride my wheelie. You can see I'm still standing so stiff. I think that was my first outing on my new wheelie. I just bought it, and I was like, I'd been learning on yours, and I flippin' fell on yours so many times. But it was amazing, and you were a wonderful, awesome, incredible teacher, the most patient of patient, and wow, what a journey. What a journey we had. It's
think
really
you
been
look
so cool.
I think you look a little stiff because you didn't want your head to fall off.
My head, yeah.
You're going
That
so
purple
fast.
hat, everyone.
The head shall not fall off. The head shall not fall off. No, we had a super nice. And you remember those the one couple different super treks we had up the mountain and through the forest. That's not easy driving, and you did that very well. And if one can do that, one doesn't need a horse anymore. You know, it's cool.
That's how horse in the pocket. And I guys, I got to tell you, we obviously had these wheelies. They probably weigh about 15 kilograms each. So Olav would take this, he would have this carrier thing on the back, and he would put our wheelies in there, and we would go yeah on our scooters, and we would go to different places, and we would park our scooters, and then we would get on our wheelies. And the most amazing thing about these wheelies is that wherever we went on them, people let us in. It's like if you're in a car, they wouldn't allow you in. But these guys in Thailand, they just let us in. We were riding in the...
It's better than a wheelchair, you know? With a wheelchair, you get in everywhere. But if you come on a wheelie, then you can say, like, hey, it's just like a Tesla, but I'm poor, you know? I can only have one, you know?
I can only afford one of Tesla's wheels. I may do.
No, it's fast and quick. Even if they get you, you know, you're quicker gone than they can possibly catch you. So
Exactly.
like the wheelie is cool.
That was so cool. We took them to the islands. Olav and I rode wheelies on the islands where no one had ever ridden wheelies before. No, we had some super cool times, and we're going to be chatting with you more. I know it's like an hour and a half already. We've had I've loved the show today, Olav. Thank you so much
Okay. Thank you very much, Santi, for your time, your beautiful videos, which remind me, I don't watch them every day, so you actually put some nice memories in my head. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And good luck with your show. Explain everyone the beauty of the possible dreams they have, and if they want to include human flight, we're going to make another show and talk about some specifics in the future.
We're definitely going to. But before we do, I want to just tell people where to get hold of your books and stuff. OlavZipser.com, right? That's your website.
That's great.
Okay.
I can, OlavZipser.com, you can buy my books, you know, and Olav Zipser or FreeFly, you can look me up on Wikipedia or on the internet for the videos, you know. I'm easy to be found as long as you know how to spell my name.
Well, for those of you who are friends of mine on Facebook, he's my Facebook friend. You see, I'm always often posting stuff of his and stuff like that. So we will definitely be doing a follow-up show. We were going to be talking more of going sort of more in depth in some of your experiences. And guys, I want to highly encourage you, if you can get any of Olav's books, they are amazing. He has actually done it himself. His hand put them together. It's kind of like the next phase of his life now, where he's put into a manual how he does what he does. As you can see, I mean, you all know I work with satanic ritual abuse here, and I've got the Satanist always hot after my heels. But never have I had people so rude to someone who has got nothing to do with Satanism or the system. Yeah, he's a brilliant human being who I am so blessed to introduce to my viewers, because what Olav has given me in my life, you know, we met at a time that my life was at a turning point. And meeting Olav changed the complete course of my life in so many ways. And not just the journey I went on, but the conversations we had, the time we spent together, the information he imparted. And as you know, Olav, you can see, I mean, he's a very humorous guy, but usually he doesn't speak much at all. He watches, he just sits and he observes. And now you can see why. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Olav. And we will most definitely have you on again. Olav has offered to as well do some talks, motivational talks about some of the stuff that he does with his students. This is not just for skydivers. This is incredible life lessons for us all. So watch again. We watch this space. We will let you know when he's back and sharing some incredible knowledge. Go and get a hold of his books on olavzipser.com. If you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you'll find him. He's actually, I don't know if you've got my mutual friend. I've got people sneaking into my friends trying to find all sorts of things. I might have changed my settings now, but Olav is a friend of mine. So if you want to get a hold of him in any way, reach out to me. Yeah. Thank you. And Olav, everyone is very honored to have met you, and really we're looking for
Thank you.
Great show.
Yeah, free fly your mind. There's nothing special with any one of us, including me. Everyone can do it. All you need to do is actually do it. And if you get the coin rolling, it won't fall over right away. It will roll somewhere. Maybe a good way it will roll. Roll with your coin. Make yourself a coin. Stand yourself on the rim and see all sides around you and take charge. Go for the future. See you later.
Indeed. Take care, everybody. God bless you all. I will see you very soon. Jerry, bye.